What's up, guys? This is NBA Debate here. It's the first video, so in this video we'll be talking about the relevant and irrelevant team. I'm here with my friend Jason, who is in the Skype call. Say hi. So we're going to start off with, obviously, all the NBA teams. We're going to be describing who's relevant and who's irrelevant. Now keep in mind, before anyone comments, this is today. Like, are they relevant today? So we're going to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is pretty obvious, and they're relevant. They won the championship. They're relevant. Next one, Boston Celtics. They're relevant as well. I see them as a top 3 team in the East. They got Al Horford, and just to top it off with their 17 championships, but we're talking about today. But, you know, their history makes them relevant, even if they go 0-82. Now we have the Brooklyn Nets. Sadly, not sadly, I don't care about them. I'm a Laker fan. Jason's a Celtics fan.
No. Wait, hold on. I think the Nets are relevant for one reason only. You know why?
Stop. Don't even bring up that Celtics trade.
Well, they are kind of relevant because of that, and still gets talked to.
Nope, they're irrelevant. Sorry, they haven't done enough to prove that they're Brooklyn. Like, obviously, they moved to Brooklyn 3-4 years back, and they haven't done much there. New York Knicks, we all know they're relevant. That's pretty obvious. One of the most popular teams in all of sports. They did get D Rose, and you know they're on the up and up. But we'll see how their team is. They have a lot of injuries on their team. I mean, injury-prone players, but we'll see what happens. 76ers, I find them relevant. Now you guys are like, but their team sucks. It doesn't matter if their team sucks or not. It kind of matters whether they're talked about or not. They obviously have Ben Simmons, who people compare him to the next LeBron. And they have Jahlil Okafor, second best rookie last year? Maybe, you can debate. Joel Embiid, he's coming back. Who knows how he's going to be? So I find them relevant for now. Now, I actually want to ask you this one. How about the Toronto Raptors?
Definitely. Being probably the best sports team in Canada. They represent all of Canada in the NBA, and coming up conference finals appearance. I think they're pretty relevant.
Yeah.
They have great fans too.
Yeah, definitely, and I find them relevant as well. Obviously, they come out from a conference final, so that makes them relevant. Chicago Bulls, obviously they're relevant. Even though they lost D Rose, I still find them relevant just because they're the Bulls, and the Bulls are the Bulls. Just like the Knicks, they're one of the most popular franchises of all time. Now, how about Detroit?
Detroit, yeah, I definitely say so.
Okay, I find them relevant, more. Okay, out of this list on the relevant, they're one of the least relevant on this relevant list. But the reason why I put them there is because even though they got swept by the Cavs in the first round, Stanley Johnson, their rookie, did cause trouble for LeBron, and they have a pretty bright future ahead of them. So their future is looking really good right now, so I have them as relevant. Alright, so Indiana, I have him as relevant. Paul George came off at one of his best seasons in his career, especially after a big injury like that in the U.S. thing, where he almost crushed his foot. But
and he just won a gold medal too.
Yeah, and then now you have Al Jefferson, you have Jeff Teague. That team is looking scary now because they just gave up George Hill for Jeff Teague. That is an amazing swap. Who wouldn't take that? Milwaukee Bucks, this one's kind of questionable, but I'm going to put them as irrelevant. Sure, they have Antetokounmpo, but I don't see them, if they make the playoffs, they're not going to make any noise, I feel, because all these other teams I listed as relevant, except for the 76ers, can all defeat the Bucks.
You can make a debate about that. They have some pretty well-known players in their team, and,
yeah,
that's...
Jabari got injured. Antetokounmpo, he's going to have an up-and-up season, hopefully next year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep him as irrelevant for now. Okay? Okay. Atlanta Hawks.
Yes.
Right now, I don't have them as relevant. Because, first of all, they lost Al Horford, and they lost Jeff Teague.
They got Dwight.
And they're Atlanta. I'm sorry, but not a lot of people talk about Atlanta nor mention them. If they're like a really, really good team, they would be relevant. But they're not that really, really good team like the Cavs. They got Dwight, sure, but they lost Horford and Jeff Teague. So...
Yeah, but they played the Cavs 2 years in a row. That has to mean something.
Yeah, it means something, but I'm gonna put them as irrelevant. They lost a couple good players, and it doesn't seem like they're gonna get any better next year. Okay, this one is a little tough. Washington.
Yeah, being the, DC, I think that automatically makes them pretty relevant.
Now, here's the thing. We're talking about right now. If they're relevant right now. They didn't make the playoffs last year.
I would say that. I mean, it's unfortunate they didn't because they had.
Okay, listen. If we're talking about relevant and present, let's say we're in 2014. We're making this video. If they're relevant present, yes, they would because they made the playoffs. They could have made it to the conference finals. John Wall got injured. We all know about that story. This year, they didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't make any moves during the offseason. Sure, they signed Scott Brooks trying to lure Durant. That didn't work.
But they still have Wall and they still have Wall and Beal. That's pretty
but
big.
See, here's the thing. I hope that Washington does good next year, and I think they will. But we're talking about right now, like as of September 1, are they relevant?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They're not relevant right now, but at the end of the season, I hope they are. Now, Charlotte Hornets, they're not relevant.
Yes.
No. They lost Al Jefferson, first of all. They lost Al Jefferson. That is key. They did lose to the Heat in the first round? Yeah, first round. And they're just not that team for people to be, like, really talking about, like, as a, oh, can they make this round or can they make that round? People are not really there to talk about Charlotte like that. They're one of those teams that's, like, they're solid. They're pretty decent. But they're not one of those relevant teams like the Celtics. So honestly, it's these last few irrelevant teams that I listed, it could be debatable. Now this one, Miami Heat. As of September 1, 2016. What do you think?
I think they're relevant. I mean, you said just because. You said they're teams like New York, Chicago, always relevant just because Miami's a pretty big market city. I think that makes the Heat pretty relevant.
Yeah,
just from that.
And people are going to be talking about them this year, like Dwayne Wade back to Miami, all that stuff, all that hype. They will be discussing about the Heat. I'll make them relevant. Doesn't mean they'll be a great team next year. Relevant and irrelevant doesn't define them as a good or bad team. Or so I could put the 76ers as irrelevant. Anyways, Orlando Magic. I'm right away going to put them as irrelevant. They have Aaron Gordon.
They made some pretty big moves.
They got rid of Oladipo. I totally disagree with that. I don't know what Orlando's thinking giving away Oladipo.
Okay, yes, I agree.
So that, and in addition to, getting Ibaka and stuff, I mean, sure, that's okay and all, but it doesn't make them relevant. Or else you could make the case that Washington's relevant, because they made the playoffs before the Magic did. So...
They also got Frank Vogel.
Oh, it's okay. Dallas Mavericks, I'm always going to put them as relevant. They're always that one team that seems to make always a series unpredictable in the West. Every single year the Mavericks make it to the playoffs, you don't know who's going to win. Sometimes the Mavericks can upset a team. I think they're seed number 8 against the number 1 Spurs, if I recall, or 2-7. One of those, and the Mavericks upset the Spurs. That's what I remember.
Yeah, my friend.
Okay, yeah. So, Houston Rockets. This one's pretty tough. Whew. Now, they did make the playoffs last year. They got rid of Dwight, and who knows, that might be a better thing for the Rockets. They'll have better teammate chemistry. James Harden will go, who knows what happens with James Harden next year. but I think I'll have him as relevant just because James Harden's on there. James Harden's always talked about, either in a good way or bad way. People saying no defense, or people saying the greatest shooting guard right now. That's how I put them as relevant, because of James Harden. San Antonio, relevant. They're going to be talking about the Spurs. Like, how are they gonna function without their main veteran leader, Tim Duncan, that just retired? How are they gonna perform? Like, we know they're gonna perform similar to what they've been doing for the past few years, and obviously they've won championships in the past, but it'll be interesting to see how they do it without Tim Duncan. So, they're still a really, really good team. Still a favorite to win. One of the favorites, Warriors, Cavs, and Spurs. But we'll see what happens with that. I put them as relevant. Now, what about the Pelicans? I don't have them as relevant. But what do you think?
That's hard to say. It's been unfortunate with the injuries, but you forget that just a year ago people were saying Davis is potentially the best player in the league and they're a team on the rise.
Exactly, but we're not talking about a year ago. We're talking about as of September 1, 2016. So Anthony Davis, I'll put them as irrelevant, because if I put them relevant, then there would be a few teams from the irrelevant list. I would put them there. Grizzlies, not relevant. Sure, they've been in the playoffs for the Grizzlies, sure, they've been in the playoffs for the past few years, but honestly, they aren't as good as they were, like 3 years ago when they used to go to the Western Conference Finals and people thought it was going to be a Pacer-Grizzly final. Like, oh my god. But yeah, I don't have them as relevant, only because they haven't made as much noise as they used to. Minnesota, I'm going to have them as relevant, by the way.
Hold on. I think
Minnesota is relevant because today everybody's talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, probably the best center in the league, with Chris Dunn, who had a pretty good summer league, and you have Andrew Wiggins with that, and Zach LaVine, and that mix of young core, Tom Thibodeau and his experience. The Timberwolves are a talked about team. People realize that. And that's what people will be talking about. How will the Timberwolves adjust? People are calling the Timberwolves the top 5 team in the West, according to 2K. So, yeah. That's why I have them as relevant. Denver Nuggets, no, I don't know what they're doing with their team, honestly. You got Jamal Murray or something? Okay. Oklahoma City, they're relevant because Kevin Durant will be making a return to OKC. You have Russell Westbrook, possible MVP candidate this year, possible MVP winner. Portland Trailblazers. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put them as yes, because people are thinking like, oh, the Blazers, you know, they got past the Clippers, and they're only going to get better from this point. So yeah, Utah, sorry, they're a good team. They are a good team, but they're not a talked about team. The Warriors, obviously, people said they should have won the finals this year. Stop it. Clippers, relevant. People are thinking, when are the Clippers going to get past the second round? When are Chris and Blake going to do their thing? Lakers, relevant. They can go 0-82, just like the Celtics, and they'll still be relevant. Phoenix, no, because sure, you got Devin Booker, but that doesn't make you a relevant team. Like, that's not as talked about as compared to, like, oh, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, second round. Sacramento Kings, I'm going to say no. I only say that because they lost Rondo. That's for one. Sure, DeMarcus is still on the team. There's going to be drama, but I have him as irrelevant. But looking at the list, I honestly think this list is better than another one that we made previously. But what do you think of this list and your thoughts? Quick, because we only have about 30 seconds left.
It's pretty fair. There are some debatable ones, but overall, nothing.
Yeah.
It's pretty decent.
The debatable ones, such as Washington, Atlanta, or I honestly see Washington, Atlanta as the only two teams as irrelevant that could be relevant. But anyways, this is the end of our first YouTube video. There will be more to come. So please like, comment, and please what you think about this video, and subscribe to our channel. See you guys. Peace out.